Hi, it's Kim and welcome to the channel today. What we're doing today is going out to the garden shed on this hot sunny morning. Hopefully we'll be able to see everything. It's going to be glary in the sunshine and deep dark in the shade, but I want to show you my hydrangeas that I trimmed down real severely early this spring, and they have grown back tremendously and are flowering nicely, so they must be the arborescens that I looked for. Now there are both types of flower heads in there, the mop head and the lace cap, and they're a little dry right now. We're having some problems with the irrigation system and have had the well man out once, but we're probably going to have the well pulled and have the pump replaced. So they do seem a little bit dry and droopy, but they're probably dry and droopy because of the heat too. But I really think they've done well, especially since I completely mutilated them. I'll have to insert one of the little pictures here so you can see. Now I do have a lot of thistle here growing around the base of it, but I've kind of let it bloom just a little bit because it was a pretty purple contrast, but I am going to have to get in there with some gloves and really long sleeves and pull those out because they are really bad right here, especially around the front edge. But I'm loving having all these blossoms again. It's really nice. Now you can see that the plants have grown really tall. If I step over here onto the porch a little bit, they are at least about 6 feet tall because they're over my head, but they're really full and have bloomed a lot. So I'm feeling pretty good about these. I think I will more follow the pruning schedule for the arborescens now that I've basically confirmed what these are, and I'll cut them down. Now, around on this side in front of the bushes toward the house is a collection that I've gathered up of some of my older Hypertufa that just needs to be freshened up, replanted, cleaned up a little, and maybe I need to add some more sedum or some more sempervivum in them to really make them look good. There's that little bike planter that I need to put a little tiny something into it, maybe a little fern or maybe some little flowers. But a lot of these have been dug into by the squirrels. I didn't put my little chopsticks down in these, and they've suffered for it. That one there was completely dug out, and I've piled up some more soil into it, but I'll get that taken care of. And then there's the side view of the hedge of Hydrangea, and you can see how well it's doing compared to that view of the way it looked before. They did come out so well, and I'm really glad. I think they would be going gangbusters if we had the irrigation system on as it should be. But of course, you have it turned on, doesn't work, have the well people out, oh, there's a loose wire, and then it still doesn't work, so we've got to get the well people out again. But you can see the shady area that I have here. There are huge trees on the other person's yard over there that shade and keep this one, in a pretty dark area right here. So I think it's really good for the hydrangea. They seem to be blooming well, but I may need to pull some of these Hypertufa pots out into a more sunnier area. But once I get all that work done, I'll take care of that. Now, coming around from this area where the hydrangeas are, if you swing around to the side wall next to the neighbors, that's that large hedgerow that we have along there that I call my living fence. Now I do know that one of those plants in there is my Rose of Sharon. I think it's the Lady Stanley. We identified it from an old tag. I'll reference that old video where I showed them blooming last year, I think it was. But I have since then discovered that this one is some kind of Viburnum. I'm not sure the name of it. I'll show you what it looked like in early spring. It was kind of mid-May when it started blooming with white flowers. And it's sort of the plants are a Viburnum, then a Rose of Sharon, a Viburnum, then a Rose of Sharon, all the way up the hill. But the flowers were real pretty in the spring. And like I said, I'll insert one of the pictures here so you can see how pretty they are. But this is the Rose of Sharon coming up again toward the top of the fence, and I'm looking forward for them to bloom. Now, they typically have bloomed in July and August, and I'm not sure if, based on the time the landscapers came to trim, if we sacrificed some of the blooms, because the landscapers came a lot later than I thought they would, based on when things set bloom. So I guess one of these days I'll learn how you time it and what you do when you have landscapers do it instead of you doing it yourself. A little disappointment there, but I can live with it. I've still got my hedge, and I do like the way that looks. Nice and green and sprinkled with flowers. Even if it's just a few, they're going to be pretty. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these are going to bloom this month and next. So I've got my fingers crossed. Now, way up there on the side of the hill is my Boulder Garden. I won't walk up the hill today. We'll look at that later. But over by the deck are some of the John Creech sedum that's growing in thickly, regrowing I should say, after being kind of stomped last year by the people who worked and painted the deck. But this particular bush here is a 9-bark. It's a Diablo, I think is the name of it. It had really pretty white flowers in the spring, and now they've turned into kind of a red berry look. And it does attract a lot of birds back here. There were lots and lots of bees in the springtime. But they've been really, really nice here. And I really like the color of these leaves. They're kind of a dark burgundy with bright green popping in here and there. And then we've cultivated heuchera against the foundation of the house. Now, over here on the other side is my retaining wall. That is a dwarf Korean lilac there at the top. It bloomed really pretty this year, and they did trim it off with the boxwoods and there also. Now, the plants that are growing in the retaining wall, I think they look really good. I'll soon have to give them a haircut and cut all the flowers off, but they will grow back, and I'll stuff even some more little crevices. Heuchera looks just fine. I think that's the Palace Purple. And my hellebores, I'm surprised they're doing this well in the heat of the season, because usually they die back for the most part. But the bushes look good. All of my sedum are growing into this mulch bed. It drains perfectly there for them to behave real well, even though they're growing in mulch, not growing in gravel. It's straight mulch, and it's about probably a foot deep, but it drains quickly, and I think they get a nice strong foothold in there. But I love the way the rocks look. I like my tiny little sprigs growing out of the side, and I hope you do too. I'll keep you updated on what this looks like. But thanks for watching today, and I hope you enjoy your holiday and this July weekend that we're having here in Ohio. It's so hot, so enjoy.